Here is the real question. Should you save money with the Pixel 10, or is the Pixel 10 Pro or Pixel 10 Pro XL actually worth it? The answer could be yes, and I will tell you my arguments in a minute. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is the biggest of the batch and weighs 232 grams with a triple camera setup. The Pixel 10 Pro weighs 207 grams and has an identical camera setup, and the Pixel 10 weighs 204 grams, and even though it also has a triple camera setup, the camera sensors are smaller. If we put the Pixel 10 and 10 Pro next to each other, they look almost identical besides the colors. Of course, next to the Pixel 10 XL, both of them look shorter and more compact. All three phones support magnets, which is called Pixel Snap, and you can attach your accessories without a case on them. The Pixel 10 Pro has a slightly thinner bezels than the Pixel 10, but it is barely noticeable. The Pixel 10 XL is the largest with 6.8 inches. The Pixel 10 Pro and 10 are both 6.3 inches. They are all using the same Gorilla Glass Victus 2. The Pro XL has a higher resolution, but the Pixel 10 Pro has the highest pixel density, and the Pixel 10 has the lowest in both categories. All of them are also 120Hz OLED panels, but the Pixel 10 Pro XL and 10 Pro are LTPO, whereas the Pixel 10 is not. What is a bit sad is that the PWM of the Pixel 10 is also very low. For the Pro versions, Google added a version called Sensitive Eye that you can activate to double the PWM to 480 Hz, but the flickering on the Pixel 10 is still 240 Hz. For that reason alone, I would personally vote for the Pro versions since it will be better for eye strain. There is another reason that is worth opting for the Pro version, and that's the camera setup. The Pro XL and Pro have identical cameras, but the Pixel 10 has a different camera lens. If you look at the Pro picture next to the Pro XL, you don't notice any difference whatsoever. Compared to the base, the Pro model has a 50 megapixel f1.7 1:1 31-inch main sensor, while the base is a 1:2-inch one, which means the sensor is almost half of the size of the Pro models. For one, that means you get less natural bokeh or background blur in your pictures. The background blur is what we usually associate with a more professional look. The smaller sensor should also, in theory, perform worse in low light, but due to computational photography, at least here in the basement, with almost no light, the photos are rather comparable. The same goes for this video. Even though the smallest sensor should, in theory, have less dynamic range, the videos are very close in 4K at 30 frames per second. In low light, it is a different story though. The Pixel 10 Pro is doing a much better job retaining details, while the Pixel 10 is struggling a lot. Especially if you crop the video, you can see the stark difference between the two. The skin tone is also different between the Pro and base model. The base tends to have more magenta. I observed it in many different skin tones, including myself. I took this video of Tanya with the Sony full-frame camera with correct colors. And as you can see, Tanya is yellowish and warm under this specific lighting. That's closer to the Pixel 10 Pro compared to the Pixel 10. Both phones do have a 5x telephoto lens, but the Pixel 10 Pro has a larger sensor here too. There are a lot of situations like this picture where the photos are rather comparable at 5x zoom. But generally, the Pixel 10 Pro is going to give you a tad sharper image and higher quality. It also gives you more bokeh if you want to take portrait photos. That's particularly important since you can't take portrait mode photos with the telephoto lens, which is really strange. You can only zoom up to 3 times in portrait mode, and frankly, I'm not a big fan of the processing here. Tanya's hair is cut very artificially on both phones. One advantage of the Pixel 10 Pro is this new 100x enhanced zoom feature, which is something I'm starting to rather like. The picture is enhanced by generative AI, and details that are not captured optically will be added to the picture. The Pixel 10 Pro also has a 48 megapixel ultrawide sensor instead of the 13 megapixel one on the base model. And the sensor is also larger, but once again, the difference is negligible in daylight. What is noticeable though is that in macro shots, you can get closer to the subject with the Pro compared to the base model. The Pixel Pro also has a better selfie camera, and The nice touch is that the camera is wider than the Pixel 10 base model. One key feature of the Pro models that is handicapped on the Pixel 10 base is the 8K video. Here, I'm taking a video in 4K default mode with the telephoto lens on both phones. If we crop in, the videos are rather comparable. The Pro is doing it slightly better due to having a larger sensor, but if we turn on the 8K enhanced option, everything changes. The Pixel 10 Pro video is absolutely gorgeous and the details are crazy good. Maybe one of the best quality videos I've gotten on any smartphone's telephoto sensor so far. All phones also run Android 16 out of the box, and you can immediately update it to Android 16 Material 3 Expressive. Generally, you get the exact same software experience except for some features here and there, like the lack of sensitive eye on the Pixel 10 or the lack of 8K video boost. All phones are sporting the new Tensor G5, which for the first time is made by TSMC instead of Samsung Foundry. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is a larger phone, and naturally, that means the cooling is going to be better. I ran a game that I wrote myself, which is a bunch of cubes and particles colliding to keep the environments the same. And by the end of the test, all phones were relatively cool. The Pixel 10 Pro XL was 1 degree cooler though. Also, not very surprisingly, all of them give you more or less the same performance. I ran Geekbench, for example, and the performance difference between the three is negligible. The Pixel 10 Pro has a higher top charging speed compared to the other two. It is 45 watts instead of 25 watts, and based on Google, in 30 minutes, it charges 70%, while the other two charge only 50%. There is a wireless charging, and they all support Qi 2 accessories with Pixel Snap, but there is no reverse wireless charging. You get some, you lose some. The battery capacity of the phones is very close. The Pro XL has a larger battery, but also a larger screen and more pixels. I did a very simple test consisting of running different apps to check the battery performance on a mix of 5G and Wi-Fi. I also added a standby test and left the phones overnight. By the end of the test, the Pixel 10 Pro XL was at 60%, Pixel 10 Pro at 53%, and the Pixel 10 base at 59%. I personally can't explain why this difference happened, other than I find the Pixel 10 series a bit inconsistent when it comes to battery life so far. I had some great days, for example when the Pixel 10 Pro beat the S25 Ultra in a day in the live video, but another day when I compared the Pixel 10 to S25, the Pixel 10 did not do that great. I will do a detailed battery test of all Pixel phones soon, so subscribe to not miss that video. Overall, obviously, the Pro is a better choice, and that's why Google is charging more. I would go for the Pixel 10 Pro if you want a compact phone with better PWM, a better camera, 100x zoom, and the enhanced video option. The Pixel 10 is for you if you want to save a bit and don't care about anything I just mentioned. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is for people that want a Pro phone but in a larger form factor. If you want to see a more detailed comparison of the Pixel 10 Pro versus the Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can watch this video next. Thanks for tuning in to TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.